Today in No Man's Sky Beyond News, HG just dropped an insane 103 note patch to the experimental branch with loads of fixes, quality of life improvements and more, like support for ultra-wide 21:9 monitors, finally, fixes for freighters in multiplayer and a whole lot more. Let's get into this ridiculous patch. Fixed a significant number of crashes and functionality issues with fleets and freighters in multiplayer. This is really good because, well, there's been a crap ton of functionality issues. I'm hoping this includes being able to call more than one in a multiplayer game in the same system. We can only hope, but yeah, I'll be testing that later. Added support for correctly scaling the HUD and other visual elements for 4K. Added support for correctly scaling the HUD and other visual elements when using alternative aspect ratios, such as 21:9. This is fantastic. I personally have, my main monitor is 21:9, and the HUD just looks stretched and horrible, or used to anyway. Not anymore. This is fantastic. I can finally enjoy my ultra-wide experience in No Man's Sky. This is actually pretty big, for anyone who's got the screen, of course. Added the ability to customize your HUD scale. Added support for custom resolution scaling when playing in borderless mode. Added the ability to toggle auto power mode on at the base computer in creative mode. This supplies power by default to all props without having to place wires or generators. This is fantastic. That is massive. It is going to improve everything for just so many people. There are a lot of people who love the wires, like myself, who love power in general. And there's a lot of people who just really don't. They wish they kind of hadn't added it to it because they find it too complicated just to mess around it, and they just don't find it fun. So the fact that they've added this support now where you can choose how you do it is pretty fantastic. Though it is only in creative mode, do be aware of that. You will still have to use wires and power in normal, survival and permadeath. Improve the survey device to allow players to select which type of hotspot they would like to search for. Another very cool thing that people have been asking for. That's awesome, we can now select the type of hotspot, which will make things so much more simple. Because generally, currently, I kind of find a hotspot that I want, like an S-Class or just whatever it is, and then I'll look around that hotspot in a 2000 U radius to see what other ones I would want at a time to use with it, so I can then choose where to put my base and extend the base perimeter to whatever I need. This is fantastic, so that's actually a massive time saver. I will no longer have to just check just like a 2000 U radius, 4000 U diameter circle is pretty friggin' big. There's a lot of hotspots in that circle. Balance the yields for mineral hotspots, particularly activated stellar metal deposits. Now, that clearly means that they have lowered the amount of activated stellar metal deposits that you'll get. So activated Indian farms have been nerfed. I'm pretty sure, obviously I haven't actually looked at the numbers yet, but that's certainly what it seems like. I'll be going more in depth with this and what it means to farming in an upcoming video. We'll go all into this and see what's up. Increase the local area complexity limit to allow more objects to be placed in a small area. This is fantastic, another massive thing that has been annoying the crap out of all builders, especially on console primarily, because on console you can't choose to increase the base complexity. It was stuck at like low, so you would build just a bunch of things in one spot, sometimes not even that much, and it would give you a build limit. You could no longer build anymore, and it just didn't make sense a lot of the time. So they've increased the limit, which is great. Optimised a number of base parts that use up a large proportion of the local complexity limit. That's fantastic, more optimisation for base building. This is turning out to be a really good patch. Fixed an issue where players were occasionally unable to snap wires to base parts. This is another big fix for any builder. It was getting infuriating. The only way to actually be able to snap anything to it was to use a save point or beacon, place it right by the snap point that you want to do, then save and reload. This would sort of refresh it, and the nearest ones to the point seem to be the ones that would open up again. So you could often do it that way, but it was just infuriating. So this is a really good fix, excellent. Fixed an issue where wires wouldn't snap from base parts when leaving the base. I personally hadn't really been affected by this, which I'm really glad about because that would have just been rage worthy, but I'm glad they fixed it. That's fantastic. Fixed an issue that causes players to fall through the floor when an item they are interacting with is deleted or network refreshed. Fixed an issue that removed the portal glyphs from screenshot mode. This is good. I think by removing it, it just cropped the image too much, which was very annoying when you were trying to do a very specific image, so hopefully they've just fixed the crop as well. Fixed an issue that could cause players to get stuck in a loop when trying to return to the Mind Arc to Artemis. Another good one, this was a sort of game breaker really for the main quest, so I'm glad they fixed it. Add a tip message when pinning a product that you do not know the recipe for. Fixed an issue where collision on scientific frigates could eject players into space. Holy crap, I'm glad I didn't run into that one. Fixed a number of interaction progress issues that were preventing a large number of NPC and other planetary encounters from being selected. Fixed an issue that could cause space combat tips to stretch across the whole screen. Added a welcome message to the ship HUD when landing at space stations. Fixed an issue that charged players for a purchase but did not reward the item because their inventory was full. Well, that's good. Fixed an issue where predators could circle their targets endlessly without ever attacking. Markers for locations that are not on board the space anomaly are now hidden when you are inside the anomaly. Fixed an issue that allowed players to build traps around portal exits. I'm not sure how to fix this. I hope they haven't just made it so it's impossible to build anywhere near a portal again, because that will negatively affect a lot of bases. Hopefully they've just made certain parts impossible to build, right close to it. We'll see. I'm definitely going to look into that as well, because that could affect one of my recent builds that will be released soon. Fixed an issue that caused some base parts, particularly refiners, to reset when the player left their freighter or current planet. This is huge. This has been a massive issue now for almost a year, where refiners would just reset and lose their contents. And it's not consistent, so you wouldn't know when it was going to happen. It would just occasionally happen. Often, actually. And it was infuriating, so I'm really glad they fixed this. I'm surprised it took them till now, but they've done it. I honestly resign myself to it never being fixed. Correctly enabled power on carbon planters, allowing their plants to grow. This, another big one we've been waiting for. Finally, carbon planters are fixed and everyone can get them. This is fantastic. Carbon planters are huge for builders. Just gives you a steady supply of carbon, the only real way to do it. This will affect farms massively as well. We can now reliably farm carbon again without having to just deforest a planet. Replace a previous HBO implementation with a newer and high quality temporal AO solution. I have no idea what that means. If anyone does, please say it below because I'm very curious. Introduced a number of significant CPU optimizations. Improved the management of graphics memory pools. Introduced a number of memory optimizations for Xbox One. Optimized the memory usage of interaction dialogue. I said dialogue very strangely there. Applied a series of optimizations to water rendering. Introduced a number of smaller general optimizations. Upgraded OpenVR to the latest release. Fixed a number of minor LODing issues. Fixed an issue that caused friends' bases to be named incorrectly. Fixed a number of issues where the visuals and animations of base parts did not accurately reflect their power status. Reduced the intensity of the glow on light boxes. This is pretty good. Yeah, they were so bright it was ridiculous. It was just blinding when you were looking directly at them. Like Gravitino balls. Have they sorted that too? Hopefully. Fixed a number of collision issues with base parts. Fixed an issue that caused the red debug box to be visible in underwater crash ship scenes. Okay, this is good. Yeah, if you'd gone there, you'd basically, instead of seeing the underwater little capsule that you can go safely into, you could still use it. It was just like a weird box though. Fixed an issue that could cause distress beacons to be spawned inside some large crashed ships. Added the full description of a base part to the build menu pop-up. Added a preview of a base part's power usage to the build menu pop-up. That's very cool. I like that. It's a nice touch. Still using my spreadsheets there. Fixed a number of small visual issues with base parts. Improved the camera on the battery interaction. Added audio to the battery and biofuel reactor. Added audio to the sphere creator. Improved the audio when placing wires. Added audio when physically interacting with the UI in VR. Balanced the volume of the doors on the space anomaly. Added audio when switching sub-inventories. Fixed an issue that allowed players to delete objects other players are interacting with. Fixed an issue that could cause the sphere creator to fail to create a sphere. Fixed an issue that caused wiring indicators to remain visible in the world when not wiring. The short-range teleporter now correctly uses teleport cables rather than standard electrical wiring to determine network connectivity. Fixed a number of incorrect values being displayed in the UI for industrial parts. Fixed an issue that could cause the fleet terminals to be hard to place in freighters. This one was actually brought up on the Discord recently, so yeah, I'm glad they've sorted that. There's a few people have been having issues getting their terminals in. Improved the clarity of hotspot icons when surveying. Added hotspot icons to the compass. Added off-screen tracker arrows to hotspot markers. Fixed an issue that caused only one storage container to be available from the construction research unit on the space anomaly. This is an awesome one because obviously new people, new saves that have been created after Beyond just haven't been able to get the extra containers. They've only been able to get that one. So now you can get all of them. Fantastic. Fixed an issue that caused creature vocals to play inconsistently. Fixed an issue that caused vibration not to work on Move controllers. Fixed an issue that caused alien interactions to always return a negative result. That's good because I'm glad they fixed that. Fixed a number of issues with the most recent filter for the anomaly teleporter. Fixed a number of UI issues with the base computer, including fixes for taking screenshots. Added distinct visuals for markers when network players are in their ships. Fixed a number of networking issues that could cause objects to become invisible. Improved the robustness of Steam matchmaking when connections drop out. Fixed an issue that caused creaturing riding control tips to have a missing icon in some circumstances. That's worded oddly. Fixed an issue that caused one knowledge stone to activate all knowledge stones on a monolith. With my experience, this activated them, but it didn't give me the thing, so I still had to go up to them and it still gave me the word, so it just looked like it had activated them. It was weird. Fixed an issue that caused chat messages to be sent from pinned missions when the mission was not selected. Fixed a number of missing or incorrect control icons. Fixed an issue that caused the action for quickly cycling weapons not to work on Xbox One. Fixed an issue that caused lighting settings to pop when boarding Space Anomaly. Fixed a number of issues with the patch notes pop up on GOG and Xbox. Fixed a number of clipping issues with compass marks in VR. Off-screen markers are now correctly hidden in VR when the front end is open. Fixed an issue that caused an extra dialogue UI layer with hard-coded text to appear when backing out of some shop interactions. Fixed an issue that caused inventory slots to flash rapidly when using the mouse to change sub-inventories. Fixed an issue that allowed RGB system access even when the hyperdrive was damaged or partially installed. Well, that's one semi-exploit patched. Wasn't really a big one, but the cleaning up, this is good. Fixed an issue that allowed the rocket boots to function even when they were damaged or partially installed. Fixed an issue that allowed the hazmat gauntlets to function even when they were damaged or partially installed. Fixed an issue that caused loading a creative mode save to add all items in the catalogue for saves on a different game mode. What? I never got that, damn it. I'm kinda glad I didn't, it would kinda ruin your game, but... Fixed a mission blocker that could occur if the mission directed you towards a very specific subset of NPCs found and trading posts. Fixed an issue that could cause planetary lighting settings to be applied in space. Fixed a console-only crash when saving the game with a large or long save game. Fixed a rare crash when changing GPU on PC. Fixed a crash related to particle emitters. Fixed a crash in region navigation. Fixed a crash when using the teleporter on the space anomaly. Fixed a crash that could occur when joining a multiplayer group. Fixed a memory related crash. Fixed an issue that prevented the insert key from being used in custom bindings. Fixed an issue that prevented some missions from being selected in the log if navigating with up-down buttons. Fixed the sprint and inventory actions being unavailable in some circumstances when using an Xbox One controller. Improved the visibility of the toggle building camera tip. Improved the clarity of some control descriptions in the bindings page. Fixed an issue that allowed functionally opposite actions to be assigned to the same button. Fixed a number of inconsistencies with being able to quick exit out of some NPC interactions. Hid a number of unavailable actions from the remapping UI. Fixed an issue that caused the camera to be too sensitive on the loading starfield when using a gamepad. And finally, fixed a small number of localization issues when displaying numbers. So there is your frankly ridiculous patch. Really happy with a whole lot of these fixes, they are fantastic. This was a lot to go over, so if you want to read these patch notes at your own speed, check out the link in the pinned comment. Thank you HG for continuing to really support this game and fix the issues. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to keep in the loop on all No Man's Sky news, and ring the bell to ensure you get the notifications. I'm working on multiple guides and videos at the moment. I haven't gone full Borderlands, don't worry. Discord, Patreon, merch store and website all linked in the pinned comment. Have a fantastic day all.